Hi there, everyone. It is currently the 13th of January 2015, and being in the middle of January, the last thing you would think we would be talking about out here in the northwestern Pacific is the potential for a tropical storm, but that really is the case here today. We now have a tropical depression just towards the south of Guam. Take a look actually at ASCAT imagery at this time. A defined center of circulation, winds rate around 30 to 35 knots based on a satellite-derived winds, and that is why the Japan Meteorological Agency has gone ahead labeled this a tropical depression with 1,006 HPA with a central pressure. That is a current analysis. 48 hours from now, they still expect it to continue to be a tropical depression with 1,004 HPA. So maintaining those winds right around that 30 to 35 knots threshold. Now, based on ASCAT imagery, it is pushing that tropical storm status, but it really does remain rather lopsided. Most of the convection is on the northern periphery. Despite a very decent low-level circulation, it is exposed, and most of the convection is displaced away from that center of circulation. So that is likely one more reason why they have not upgraded this to a TS just yet. I do think it is possible. At least a named tropical depression coming from Bagasa is going to be very well likely once this enters the Philippine area of responsibility. On their Facebook page, they already have stated there is a tropical depression well towards the east of the Philippines with maximum sustained winds around 55 kilometers per hour. Forecast to move west, though, at 19 kilometers per hour, so they expect it to come into the Philippine area of responsibility. I also agree with that. Most of the model consensus really matching up a west-northwesterly track. This is actually showing you the NavGem, GFS, and CMC kind of overlaid on this map here with the current center of circulation. I made this graphic before this was updated to a tropical depression, so that is a little bit obsolete right there, but these models still basically are indicating the same type of outlook. Expecting this to move off there towards the west-northwest. It potentially could impact Luzon or Visayas. I mean, right now, I think that this cone of air, you really have to pay attention to that, and despite seeing different model outlooks, this is still organizing, and we really have to look at how this is going to interact with the northeast monsoon once it does near the Philippines, because we could see an abundance of vertical wind shear really impact this. Also, at the weekend, if it does track a little bit farther towards the west-northwest, but on the latest runs here from some of the models, this, for example, is showing you what the NavGem is indicating at this time. It does have it coming on shore around Visayas with some heavy rainfall. I think that's going to be the bigger issue with this. On Saturday through Sunday, we're going to be seeing the threat of some flooding rains. You remember the last storm that came through the same area? Over 50 deaths occurred to that. It did not make it to typhoon intensity, just a tropical storm, but these are the ones that do cause problems, people, especially this far down here towards the south. Look here at the model outlook with the winds overlaid with the precip here indicated in the blue. The center of circulation indicated on the ECMWF model just towards the east of Yap at this time. We do have the highest winds, as I mentioned, on the northern periphery. Down towards the south, lacking convection. The winds are a little bit less there as well. Plus, on the northern portion of the center of circulation, you still have a little bit of interaction with the northeast monsoon, and that's indicated by this very tight pressure gradient, which you're going to be seeing those high winds. That's very natural for basically weather systems that are tried to form in the tropics around this time of year. They always have to contend with the interaction with the northeast monsoon here. So that is why, another reason, even though if this does impact the Philippines as a weak storm, you're still going to have a lot of gale force winds along the northern periphery of it. But let's go ahead here through Tuesday into Wednesday and just indicating our storm system really organizing up here. Scrolling ahead through Friday, it does come on shore there in Visayas, just towards the north of Tacloban, basically in the same area as Hagupit did, if this model was to follow through, and then coming on shore. I do like the ECMWF model. I like the one we use here at the Meteor Earth. It typically does do a decent job, as we've been seeing in the past, but you have to remember this is still 5 days out. We still have the genesis phase of this storm, so everybody basically across much of Luzon down through Visayas, you really need to keep a very close eye on this, because even if the center of circulation was to come on in this exact spot where it is indicating this model run, still wide swaths of Visayas and southern Luzon would see heavy rainfall, and thus the threat of flooding, and that really is the killer with storms of this intensity around this time of year. So this is something we're going to be watching for several days to come, people. This is going to continue to track off, and even in the Sunday, still moving slowly across the Philippines, even bringing some heavy showers there into Manila, if anything does significantly change, we're going to definitely keep you updated and posted here at westernpacificweather.com. But I do think this is going to be making landfall at the very least as a tropical depression, potentially a tropical storm. It's just my thoughts on it at this time. If you have any more questions, you can always ask us here at westernpacificweather.com. Just go to our Facebook page, post your questions or comments there. That's the quickest way we'll get back in touch with you. Always remember, though, we are not an official agency by any means. We never really can say that we are, but if you do want to check the official forecast, the RSMC for the Western Pacific is the Japan Meteorological Agency. If you are in the Philippines, though, they really do appreciate it if you check out their website at Pagasa. As always, thanks again for watching, and stay safe out there.